Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are doing our second installment of the Tech Disc series. If you don't know what it is, basically I am working with the Tech Discs this off season and trying to get my form better. Trying to get my numbers up, trying to get my nose angle down, all that kind of good stuff. If you haven't watched my unboxing, the first episode, go check it out up here first and then come back here. I'll still be here, I promise I won't leave. But today I'm gonna be doing 10 throws again. We're gonna be looking at the data, and then I'm gonna be telling you guys, kind of breaking down what I changed over the last month working with the Tech Disc and how you can also improve your form. Let's get it. Let's start with our baseline, 10 throws. Here's a reminder of the stats I was getting beforehand. Let's see how they look different now. Okay, man, it is hard throwing 10 full power shots back to back to back. Let's look at the data quick. Let's talk about these numbers in specific. First of all, speed. Our speed now is sitting at an average of 62, high of 64.4 and a low of 58. That was the last throw. I kind of just, it was hard to throw that one. Spin has also increased pretty significantly. I'm looking at just around 1150 now, and before I was at 1000. So I'm happy with that increase there. Max was 1207 and min was 1085. Wobble, still don't really care too much about that. It's in a good range. Hyzer is definitely where I'm losing a lot of this distance on this left side. I feel like it's easier when you're actually throwing on a course because you get the immediate feedback of, oh, that disc went left. Like I should not throw it on that much hyzer. But I had a minimum of 6.5 and a maximum of 15.1 there. And this is what I want to highlight here, this nose angle, because this is a huge difference. An average nose angle of 1.2, a min of 1.1, and a max of 2.4. So as I was throwing all my max power shots there, I never got over 2.5 degrees nose up, where in the last one, and like as I've been doing work over this month, there were some times where I was throwing 6 to 8 degrees nose up. So if you think, if a disc is flying through the air, if you get up like this, it's gonna create drag. So even a couple degrees is gonna be really significant in the amount of drag. Being able to get this to 1.2 is huge. And then the other associated factor here is launch angle. There's some of them where I'm turfing it 1.1 and other where I'm throwing way too high. So these, again, like I said last time, are very much connected and they kind of rely on each other. And I think the reason that I haven't been able to really figure out the relationship between these two properly yet is because I haven't been able to throw outside. Being able to go outside and actually say, okay, I got that one nose down, but it hyzered out so fast because of the launch angle. So as you figure out your nose angle, then you can have to figure out your launch angle and figure out what is ideal for your nose angle. But yeah, overall, super happy with these numbers. So that's the mid-February baseline here. Let's talk some form changes. So this was a little bit of a struggle as I was trying to figure out. There were times where my nose angle would get better and then my speed would go way down or my spin would go way down. But I found the easiest thing to really increase quickly is the amount of spin you're putting on the disc. Overthrow's been doing a couple videos about this recently, but basically doing this. So getting to your reach back here, a nice clean line for the disc to travel through. And the way you're gonna get the most spin is by not rounding. So if you're rounding, you're going here and you're having to go around your body. This isn't a very fast movement. You're not gonna get a lot of spin here, but if you come into the deep pocket here and then accelerate and pop out, let it spin out of here, that's where you're really gonna get the speed. So what this looks like is making sure you get here before you're releasing. So you're not coming to here and then opening all the way around. You're coming deep and letting it rotate around. So the second thing I want to focus on is nose angle. What did I do to change my nose angle? My nose angle is really not good. What I did to change it, I thought like, man, if I can get the disc here, nose down, then it'll work, right? And all that kind of overthrow videos that I watched told me this one thing and I just could not grasp it. Like it just wasn't working for me. So I actually watched a video that Brody did with the Tech Disc and he explained how he throws nose down. And that was the thing that kind of sparked for me. Instead of trying to get the disc turned at the right point so you get the nose down and everything like that, that was really hard for me. So what I focused on instead was taking my thumb, putting it on top of the disc, all the way through the throw, all the way until it leaves my hand. My thumb is on top of the disc. Instead of going like this, like flicking it out at all, because that's like the natural tendency. Like you're kind of like, yeah, flick it out, because it feels fast. In reality, that's how you start pushing the disc nose up. And that seems obvious, right? But I didn't quite internalize it until I thought, keep my thumb on the top of the disc, because I was getting here right to the release point and then flipping up. And I was like, oh yeah, I kept it nose down. I turned the key, everything was great. But I didn't actually keep my thumb on top of it, and I didn't actually follow through flat. So making sure you follow through right here, dead flat, nose down. Pour the coffee, rotate your arm, supinate your arm just a little bit, like to get it nice and flat, and then keep your thumb on top of the disc all the way through.
Hooray!
And lastly, the thing I worked on the most, and I honestly don't have a lot of tips for it, is speed, arm speed. I don't really understood what I did to change arm speed, but it was a lot of just throwing into the net. I probably threw like, I don't know, 1,000 times over the course of this month and a bit, where I was just trying to figure out what worked, what arm placement there, out, back, behind me even a little bit. I'm trying to throw a little Anheuser, trying to throw Heiser, watching a lot of different videos. But ultimately it came down to figuring out how to get into an athletic position here. So you have split and your one leg is in front of the other, rotating, like letting your hips and your upper body actually coil back. So you're not just, right, you know, you actually have to coil against it a little bit, and then being really explosive and quick through your throw. That's something that a lot of beginners struggle with, because they're focusing on form and they tend not to be explosive. So instead of going, you know, that's not very fast at all, versus, you know, the difference between slowly getting through the motion and actually like exploding through the motions. And I wouldn't ever really recommend throwing 100%, because if you're throwing 100%, you're gonna start hurting yourself, you're gonna start making mistakes. So you have to find the balance between being explosive and throwing too hard. The last tip that I'll share with you guys is something that Badanza actually mentioned in his video recently. And this helped me get from the threshold of around 60 to around that 62. It didn't add a lot, but it helped me consistently get over that 60 mark. And it's basically what Jacob Curtis does. He reaches back, but he starts with his elbow, and then he pops the disc out, and then it pops back in. So instead of doing this where your arm is out, and then eventually kind of slogging it through, you rotate back with it curled, and then you pop it back and pop it back in. It's kind of the same thing that Anthony Barella does. So getting to this point where you pop out, pop back in, using your off arm to really power things, and getting into the deep pocket and letting it spin out. That is that for the form breakdown. So if you look at my old baseline here, my new baseline here, within a month, I was able to improve greatly because of this tool, because of Tech Disc. So I would highly recommend it if you are devoted to working on your form, because just in a month, you can make huge differences in your form if you're just intentional about it. I would recommend checking it out if you haven't already. It will make you better if you devote the time to it. Tune in for the third installment. If it's already out, I'll link it up here. If it's not, you'll just have to wait. It's most likely gonna come out in late March. That's all I'm gonna say. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos, and have a nice day.